Did you guys have a favorite glow up from everybody that got turned? Was there someone that was like, oh, this one sticks out to me?
Famke Janssen, Miss Berg.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Miss Berg.
So it was funny. So James has a like step on me mommy complex. He likes the
It's out there now.
big, you know, like really strong, like I don't give a fuck. Hello everyone. It is spooky season and we're doing another Cinnamontography episode. And with me is two of my nerd buddies for movies are here, and my co-host Sam is here.
Hey.
And then from the plummet is King.
Hey everybody, it's good to be joining you on spooky season.
Spooky season, spooky.
I'm not gonna say that we're officially the Cinnamontography hosts, but we kind of are officially the Cinnamontography.
We kind of are low-key, high-key, but also low-key, but also high-key. We are the Cinematography hosts.
It was just me and Danny, for a bit, and then you guys started doing the Brat Pack series, and then it was kind of like, nah, like this is good. This is a good number right here.
This is the three caballeros.
Yeah. And I probably won't be on every Brat Pack one, but that's okay because
but
Sam,
the next one is supposed to be. Oh wait, maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
No, we said it. We said what it was going to be.
Oh yeah, that's right.
It's supposed to be Weird Science, and if you don't join us for Weird Science, well, then you hate freedom.
Freedom. Weird Science.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah. So King and I have developed the Brat Pack series, and King did ask me when we were going to do the next one. And I said, well, it's October. And in October, you have to do like a spooky movie for October. Mm. And you may have remembered last year I did like a spooky month where every week
that's way too much.
I know. Every week I reviewed a spooky, like a Halloween themed movie, and it was fun. Like I enjoyed myself, especially doing it every week. That was actually kind of fun. Scheduling which movies to watch for the month, and then recording it with a bunch of people every week. So that was fun. This year, I wanted to do that again, and I kind of wanted to plan it, so I wanted to do it ahead of time, but real life got in the way, and I couldn't do it, so we're just going to do one movie, which is fine. And King and I were deciding on, because he was on board for doing a spooky movie, and he's like, well, which one are we going to do? And I told him, I'm like, let me get back to you, because I have a bunch of movies that I would love to review, but I have to see them. So, and then I'm sitting on my computer and I'm just scrolling through YouTube, and then sometimes YouTube will have movies that you can watch, especially if you pay for premium on YouTube. And I pay for premium on YouTube, and I was scrolling through YouTube, and I just so happened to come across The Faculty. And immediately I went into our little movie DMs, and I said, let's do The Faculty. And King was all like, yes, let's do this.
Let's go. Yes.
And Sam, you've never seen this movie before until today.
No, I haven't.
Until this week.
No, yeah, I have not. And I'll explain why later, because it's pretty funny, because me and Trisha I claim to be like the cinephile out of the two of us, but there's like this weird era of movies I missed out on. I'll explain it later, but yeah, it's fucking weird. This was one of them.
I'm so surprised because this is like something I feel like you would have watched as a teenager.
This is we were talking about it before, Danny. This is my childhood. Like this movie, I am instantly shot back to my childhood home with my family and being a little kid and the bleachers.
Oh man. Yeah, so we're going to review The Faculty. But before we do that, links.animesummit.net is where you can find all our stuff. Join our Discord. We have all kinds of fun things that we do on there. Manga club, watch parties, live streams, all that jazz. And yeah, oh, and the show swap that Nick and I are doing is going to be November 3rd. So, but yeah, let's get started. So before I want to go into like what the movie is about, I want to hear everyone's like experience with this movie. So Sam, I'm gonna have you go first because since this was your first time watching it. Yeah,
just like, okay, so there's this weird, and not necessarily just horror movies or whatever, but I would say maybe most of it's horror movies, I guess. But there was this weird, like, there's this weird era between, like, I want to say, like, 96, 97 to, like, 2004, where there's, like, a big chunk of movies in that area that I just didn't see. When they came out in theaters, I was watching things like, I was too busy watching things like Disney movies or trying to watch anime or...
Well, yeah, from 98 to like 2000, we were still kids.
Yeah,
so
I was 8.
Not old enough to watch any of like the scary stuff just yet.
Yeah, and so like even when I started getting into horror movies, I was watching Monster Madness on like AMC and stuff, and they didn't show ones like this one. Some of them they did, like Scream obviously is like kind of that 90s teen era horror. And then, but most of it was like classic stuff like Halloween and all that stuff. And so the kind of horror movies that I got into and the ones that I'm still into today are like slashers and thrillers and things like that, right? So, but like there's like a weird chunk of like movies where Trisha will be like, wait, you've never seen this? I'm like, no. Which one is that? And she's like, no, dude, it's like... So it's like she's shown me a bunch of movies. And it's funny because like when we started dating, I was always the one who was like, wait, you've never seen this? Wait, you've never seen this? And then in these past, like, I don't even know. We've been together for 15 years. But in these past, like, 8 years, she's been like, babe, you seriously never heard of this movie? And I'm like, what? Fuck, no. Like, she's like, fucking Elijah Wood, Josh Hartnett. I'm like, wait, what? Elijah Wood? What? And she's like, yeah, and Usher's in it. I'm like, what the fuck? Anyways.
You're like, Frodo and Usher is in a movie together?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I'm tripping, right? There's that weird era in the late 90s and early 2000s where they would just like stick a random rap star in a horror movie. And, Seed of Chucky, H2O, Halloween Resurrection, all that kind of stuff. And so this is one of those movies. And I just, sometimes when that does happen, where she's like, whoa, you never seen this? Sometimes I've heard of it, sometimes I haven't. In this case, I feel like I'd heard the name The Faculty, but just assumed it was some random film. I didn't know anything about it. So I went into it completely blind. I didn't know what kind of horror it was. I didn't know the details. I didn't know what the bad thing was. I didn't know any of that. So I went into this completely like, wait, what the fuck? Like, I didn't read the synopsis or anything. Because if I haven't heard of a film and whatever like that, and I haven't seen anything about it, or I have no knowledge of it, I want to watch it blind. So
Right. Yeah.
Trisha had been asking me to watch this for like the past, I don't even know, a couple months. She's like, I really want to watch this movie again because, like the two of you, this was one of the ones that she got into, when she started watching horror movies. When they would show it on the TV and whatever. So
yeah.
Anyways, that's my experience. So
that's kind of like how I experienced this movie, and it was literally, just scrolling through cable and going through like the HBO channels, the Stars channels, Showtime channel and all that kind of stuff. And it would pop up. So that's kind of how I know about The Faculty, is just by randomly going through all of the movie channels just to find a movie to watch. So, I've only experienced the movie a few times off of TV, and every single time I never got the chance to watch it from beginning to end. So this go around, this was like the first experience of watching it from beginning to end. So, and James also watched it with me too. So
nice.
And he's heard of it, but I don't think, from what I got out of our conversation while we were watching it, he never really seen it before. So
sure.
But yeah. Yeah, I love this movie. I'm not big on scary movies. Like, I'm such a wimp. I was telling King earlier that when I watched the Evil Dead, not Evil Dead, the reboot that came out, I was absolutely terrified when I watched it. And right after, my friends and I had to watch Dazed and Confused in order so that I can go home that night, because I was just too afraid of going home by myself.
Yeah, you have to do the Wash movie. Wash yourself with a comedy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had to do that plenty of times.
I like that term, wash movie. I'm gonna remember that.
Yeah.
Or like pop on an episode of Bob's Burgers or something.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I've had to do that plenty of times. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't really have like a big story like some for my first interaction with this. So, but I know King does. So go ahead, King.
I mean, I already said it earlier, but this movie reminds me of my childhood. December 25th, 1998. I am 7 years old plus a little bit of change. And I remember we must have, like, my sister's a little bit older than me, and she must have tricked my parents into renting this film. We wouldn't have been able to see it in theaters, but she
you watched this with your parents?
No, I watched it with so we we weren't allowed to watch certain kinds of, like, certain movies or whatever,
right?
Or whatever. But like,
yeah,
I think I remember my sister somehow tricking my parents into renting this, and it's rated R, but I don't know how she could get it done. But I remember vividly some of the scenes. I'm 32 now, and I haven't watched it in over a decade. It's been a long time since I've seen this, but I have vivid flashback memories of us in the basement watching it. My sister would show me crazy horror films that were completely like inappropriate for a child to watch, and I definitely got scarred from it for a while and had like night terrors and shit as a kid. So don't do that, kids, whatever. But I mean, this oozes with late 90s culture. This oozes with style and music and all of these things that it just brings me right back to being a kid. So this movie means a lot to me from my childhood. And this is just, Danny, just like you, after seeing it the first time, this was on TV, TBS, TNT, all of these old stations. And all the time this movie was always playing in the early 2000s, and you would come in the middle of it, a quarter of it, maybe you could watch 30 minutes of it, and then you'd have to run outside or whatever.
Yeah.
But I just have vivid memories of just watching scenes of this and being like, oh shit, the Faculty's on. I better sit down for like half an hour and watch it.
Yeah. It's like you're flipping through the channels and then all of a sudden you just see freaking Jon Stewart and Elijah Wood on the screen. You're all like, oh shit, it's the Faculty. Let's watch this.
Absolutely. I'm like, I have to pause for 30 minutes and watch this or whatever. So when you told me that we were going to watch this, this is a blast from the past, a trip down memory lane, except this time, just like you guys, I got to share the experience with my wife, who had never heard or seen this movie before.
Oh, wow.
So she went in blind. I had an idea of what it was. So I got to, experience that after a couple years, but she had never seen it. And it was just, we had a lot of fun. I had a blast. She had fun watching it. She was like, well, that's certainly a goofy movie. So that's my history with it. It's just something I grew up with. It's what propelled me to get so much into horror, which, shameless plug right now, go check out Anime Bros. I'd had a nice horror conversation with our friend of the show, Earthworm, where we talked about Uzumaki, Junji Ito, all things horror. And this is one of those prominent movies in my early life that really got me on the horror track. So that's my story with this film.
Nice. Well, all right then. Let's just dive in. So The Faculty, this movie came out December 25th, 1998, directed by Robert Rodriguez, who is most famously known for developing the Spy Kids franchise. He directed Machete. He also he did The Adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl, Planet Terror, We Can Be Heroes, and he also dabbed and directed the latest film, Alita Battle Angel.
Oh,
great movie.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I forgot about
so,
that one.
It's literally like
A shameless shout out to, he did the El Mariachi series with
Dude,
Desperado. Once Upon a Time.
we love the Mexican movies, man. The fucking
Dude, I was gonna say, like, Mexicans got to pop off real quick.
And
This
like
guy
fucking...
is American Mexican director. If you're a Mexican kid growing up in America, Robert Rodriguez.
Yeah.
I adore him. He's like one of my favorite all times. Sorry, Danny. Please go ahead.
No, you're good.
Danny,
You're
you
good.
have to watch Desperado and El Mariachi and Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Yeah, that trilogy's awesome.
He also directed From Dusk Till Dawn.
Yeah.
Oh, another classic.
Which
another
was
classic.
written by Quentin Tarantino.
Mm-hmm.
Rodriguez is actually a really close friend and frequently collaborated with Tarantino a lot.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
they're buddies.
And going back to a little bit to Battle Angel Alita, Rodriguez and Cameron are in the works of making a sequel.
Ooh,
right now.
Yeah.
I would love.
Yeah.
I loved
Yeah.
the manga series for that. And
Have you seen the movie King?
Yes, I have seen the movie. I enjoyed it. The ending is such a cliffhanger. You're like, wait, we want more.
Yeah,
It's literally
yeah.
the like one of the manga anime adaptation Hollywood movies that is like the closest to the source material. Like, it's crazy. It's so good. Like,
Yeah, and this guy's great because he's all about. He will go out and get people to fund the movie himself. He's like boots on the ground. You give me a screenplay, I will get this thing done. So he's just a road dog of let's work until this thing is done, and I really appreciate that work ethic.
And screenplay is by the great Kevin Williamson.
I don't want to wait for our lives to be over.
Yes, he created Dawson's Creek. He wrote a majority of the Scream films. He also is famously known for I Know What You Did Last Summer. And even the Vampire Diaries, all that all that stuff. So
I love this. I love
great
this guy.
writer. So
Can we change this? Can we, instead of doing Faculty, can we just change this to a Dawson's Creek podcast now? Because that is my fucking
no, because
jam.
I'm not a big fan of Dawson's Creek. So
I don't want to wait
no.
for Danny to get a Toyota.
I have a Toyota already.
Oh, okay, never mind. That makes sense, actually. That's really cool because I love the Scream films, and this is what I like to call this era of films of horror films. It falls into that MTV teen horror.
Yep.
Kind of.
Yes.
And so Scream is the more popular one you hear of, right? And so, I mean, this is the exact kind of vibes I got with The Faculty watching it. So.
Yeah. The Faculty stars Josh Hartnett, Elijah Wood, Sean Haydos, Jordana Brewster. I cannot pronounce this poor woman's
Clea
name.
Duvall?
The girl,
Clea Duvall.
yeah, Clea
Stokes.
Duvall. Laura Harris, Usher.
Usher.
Salma Hayek, and Jon Stewart is also in this.
Amazing
So-
cast.
Lot. This movie has like tons and tons of famous people.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit, there's
Like-
Famke Janssen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh shit,
yeah.
Famke Janssen. She's so fine.
Yeah. Robert Patrick, who is
He's the T-1000.
Yep,
Terminator 2,
from the Terminator.
Have you seen
Yep.
this boy? He runs really fast.
He is a son of a bitch in this movie.
He is too, yeah.
Yeah, he honestly just plays the same character.
He really does. I love it. I don't know if you guys have seen the poster for The Faculty that would have been in movie theaters, but you can see Usher in the foreground of it. Like, he's a pretty predominant person in the poster. He has like 3 lines in the movie.
Dude,
Yeah.
okay. Well, hold on a second. Let me just read the synopsis.
Yeah.
on
Sorry,
this.
I'm getting ahead of myself.
Yeah, but also budget for this film was $15 million, and the box office it made $63.2 million
Not
at the
terrible.
box office. Not bad. It's an hour. What is it? It's an hour and some change. An hour and 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. So, an hour and 42 minutes. Distributor was Miramax Films. Production company was Dimension Films. What else? That's about it. It's a horror and sci-fi movie. It's rated R. And the synopsis is the students at Harrington High, the principal and her spouse of teachers have always been a little odd, but lately they've been behaving positively alien. Controlled by otherworldly parasites, the faculty try to infect students one by one. Cheerleader Delilah, who is played by Jordana Brewster. Football player Stan, who is played by Sean Hosty. Drug dealer Zeke, played by Josh Hartnett. And new girl Maribeth, who is played by Laura Harris, team up along with Casey, who is played by Elijah Wood, and then also the goth girl as well. All team up with some of their other classmates to fight back against the invaders. So yeah, this is pretty much like an alien parasite movie, and there's this weird, odd alien thing that infects all the students. It starts off with the coach, and then one by one more of the entire school just gets infected. So but yeah, so I don't know, I guess like our initial thoughts on the film.
Yeah, totally. And I think our goal too is we're gonna avoid the major spoilers because
Yes.
I think everyone
Yes.
should go watch this movie. I think it's a fun night that you're gonna have with your roommates, your friends, your partners, whatever, just by yourself even. So we're gonna avoid all the major spoilers for it. The first thought is, I just want to point out the movie opens up with the Offspring's "The Kids Aren't All Right."
Yeah, the soundtrack
And-
to this movie was fucking sick.
It's so fucking good. And I only want to start with that because that's what the movie opens up with when they were playing that awesome guitar riff.
Yeah.
And immediately my wife, who was looking on, she was like, whatever, I'll hang out with you. And she was like looking on her phone and she's like, wait, is this the Offspring? Oh shit, this is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
The score is composed by Marco Beltrami. Who had previously scored the teen slasher film Scream, as well as Mimic.
That's another classic. Is Mimic is a good
Both
one.
Beltrami's scores and songs by various artists used in the film were released as an album. The music from motion picture album features songs by various indie and alternative rock groups.
Yeah, there's Offspring, Creed, Soul Asylum, Garbage, Sheryl Crow, Oasis, and the awesome Class of '99 song, a cover of Pink Floyd's "Another Brick in the Wall," which comes up once or twice in the film. Just like
So good.
that idea of oh, I'm a high school student, I'm just another brick in the wall. Like I don't have any
Yeah.
individuality or anything, which is a major theme of this film. So right off the bat, knocked it out of the park with the soundtrack for me.
Nice. Yeah, this soundtrack is great. I could definitely catch myself singing along from some of the songs and everything like that. But yeah, so let's just talk about this already. Let's talk about Usher and him not honestly having like such a major role, but yet he's like on the frickin' poster cover.
Okay, so this is what I was gonna say was there's this in this MTV horror movie era, there was just horror movies that randomly had a hip hop star or famous like musician, namely hip hop, because for if you grew up in the same era that the three of us grew up in, hip hop ruled the music scene. It really did. Okay, we had Redman, Method Man, we had the Hot Boys, we had Usher, we had Lil Bow Wow, we had Lil Romeo, we had Master P,
Busta Rhymes.
you know what I mean? We had Eminem, and you know, we were coming off of the backs of like NWA and Dr. Dre, Ice Cube, and Tupac, and all, and you know, Biggie, and all them, and we got this really fucking sick era of hip hop and R&B, and it literally just ruled the radio from like 95 to like, you know, 2010, you know what I mean? Like Lil Wayne kind of being the last of that era and of that MTV kind of era. And so there was just this weird like time in movies, and especially horror movies, where they would just have a famous hip hop star in a horror movie, in a horror movie. So like Seed of Chucky, okay? Probably the worst of that series. It had Redman in it, or Method Man, I think. And this one had Usher. Halloween Resurrection had Tyra Banks and Busta Rhymes.
Oh no, I'm thinking H2O, the one when they're in the house and they're filming it. They're streaming it to online.
Yeah, and it was like a VH1 contest or some bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Resurrection.
Thank you.
Yeah. And it was just fucking dumb. It was weird. It was so weird. And it just like, I don't know if it was just some kind of marketing tactic or what, or if like some of these stars like Usher and all them really wanted to try movies or whatever, which they should be allowed to, right? If they're in a position to, then hell yeah, go for it, you know?
So the Faculty was actually Usher's first film debut.
Oh, okay.
I'm not surprised by that.
I'm not surprised by that, yeah.
From watching his 3 lines that we got, I'm like, yep, this is somebody's first film, because he All of these people we mentioned, Busta killed it in the Halloween film because he was just funny. So that's charisma will carry you a long way. But Usher, I thought he was. I just remembered him being important, and he's so minuscule. He's just the jock's best friend.
Yeah,
I thought he was
like,
gonna be
two
part of the main cast because like I saw the little poster, and he's on it. Obviously, because I went to Letterboxd to see where we could watch it. I went to Google, and he's like on all the posters. So.
Yeah. So, and that's what really like makes it so strange, because you look at the movie poster, right? And typically when you look at a movie poster like this, you typically have a movie poster typically debuts the main cast. So like you have Elijah Wood, you have Josh Hartnett and everything. Like, they're important characters, particularly, Josh Hartnett and Elijah Wood, because they are the soul of the film. But like Usher, you see him in the beginning of the movie, then you see him, in the classroom when Casey finds the parasite pod, and Jon Stewart's act of character is analyzing it and stuff. And like Usher maybe has like a few lines in that classroom scene, and then all of a sudden you see Usher again, and like obviously you can tell that Usher is like infected with the parasite and stuff, and that's it. That's it. That's all you see of Usher.
Oh my gosh! Do you know what's worse too? If you guys look at the poster real quick, so there's a main group of kids that Usher he's a side character. Stan, played by Sean Hatosi, he's the jock of the group. He's not even on the main poster. They removed him to put Usher in as Usher is also a jock. He's Stan's best friend. He plays on the football team with him. But they removed one of the main characters to squeeze Usher's cute little face in. And
oh my God.
That's gotta suck. Sean Hatosi is listed third in the cast on the call sheet, and he's not even on the fucking thing. That's so sad.
So the poster you're looking at, King, it's the one with the
on Wiki.
On Wikipedia. That's the original. So, which is really funny because that's what people saw when they went to the theater.
Yeah.
And so that's so fucking funny to me because I'm on Letterboxd, and it's the updated like thumbnail, and and on the banner, Usher's not in it. It's just the 5 main kids minus Mary Beth, and then on the actual thumbnail, Sean Hatosi's character Stan gets moved to the back, and then Usher goes
like,
in front of him.
Just like a tiny like smidge of like Sean is.
It's really funny, like.
Oh my gosh, I can't.
They just had to market. I think it must have been some kind of marketing thing. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, it just.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's so weird. That like there was just this era of films where it just has like a random R&B star or music star in it. It's just. I don't know. I thought Usher was going to be it would have been nice if Usher was part of the main group, I think, but
right. I think I agree with you. I would have loved to have Usher have a little bit more of a bigger role within the movie, aside from just him like kind of picking on Elijah, and then that's it, like he's infected,
right,
kind of thing. Because that's really what it was. Like, he had a couple lines when he was talking to Sean, because Sean's character is the captain of the football team, and he's the star quarterback. But recently, he has been feeling that he doesn't want to play football anymore. And so he kind of confides into Usher because they're friends and they're on the football team and everything. And so they were doing like some locker room talk and everything. So, then that was that. And then you don't really see Usher again until the the classroom scene when they find the parasite pod, and again he makes fun of Elijah Wood's character, and then that's it.
Oh, that's all
like,
you get.
So disappointed in that, quite frankly.
Oh, it's super sad. And we should also tell the listeners, too, that in this fictionalized world, we're at a high school where football is God, to the point where I think of the opening scene, the teachers all around the principal are like, can we have money for the school play? Or can we go on a class trip for history?
Or can we have new computers? Like,
can we have new computers?
Yeah,
And the principal's like, no, all the money's going to the football team, and you all know this, you dorks.
Yeah,
okay?
you dorks.
So I will firsthand. I know how that feels because my high school was a football high school.
Yes.
So the football team always got the newest equipment, got the new uniforms and everything. Like, I was a part of marching band, and marching band didn't get new uniforms until my sophomore year of high school.
Yeah, you
So-
wouldn't part of
In the
marching band,
words
you
of
fucking geek.
Yeah, I was gonna say, in the
Whatever.
words of the principal, shut up, dork.
Yeah, Danny. why don't you go eat a burger? Except it'd be a geek burger because you're a geek. Nice one.
There we go. Nice
I
one,
did have a
Tom.
burger earlier. Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's probably a geek burger with,
Thanks for
with
noticing.
cheese.
Oh man, but that's the universe we're dealing with, is just the over, and it's like hyper accentuated
Yeah.
to the point of like, okay, we get it. Like, there's a social hierarchy that is very prevalent in this school, and I do appreciate. I'm sorry, I'm gonna say this right now. This movie starts and ends the same way. This is not a major spoiler, but punching or hitting nerds in the nuts. That's how this movie starts, and that's how this movie ends. So that's all. Like, spoiler alert, this movie ends exactly how it starts. The nerds get punched in the nuts.
Yeah.
Oh man.
My high school was kind of like that. The biggest. Okay, here's the thing. The biggest prides of my high school was the football team, which Nick was on, so everyone yell at Nick.
No way. Oh, was he an usher?
No, dude, I think he probably doesn't want me advertising that, but like
He was a stan.
I think Nick was wrecking people. I'm pretty sure he was wrecking people. I don't know. I might be lying. But like, it was weird because my high school was cliquey, but like a lot of the cliques intermingled with each other. There were a couple like stoner Lords of Dogtown skater people on the football team, and things like that. But like the pride of our high school was football, our football team, our theater, and I think probably something else. But like the football team and sports clubs still got all the funding, pretty much.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Even though the pride was like also everywhere else. Like we had a really good chess team too, I think. So, but yeah. Anyways,
but everybody slammed their nuts into the flagpoles, right?
Yeah, that was pretty much. That's
pretty
happened.
much how I think.
I just hung out with the goth kids, and then like, if somebody, I started becoming friends with everybody like around my junior year or whatever. So if somebody picked on me, one of the football players would come like in front of me and be like, "Saw this person giving you a problem?" I'm like, "Oh no, not at all, not anymore."
Oh,
yeah, it's like,
and I love that.
Yeah, it's
like that
because like it was yeah. So like I can't whenever we watch movies like this, right? I kind of can't relate. You know what I mean? Because it's just like there was a lot of us who were friends with a lot of each other. So it was just like especially a lot of these jockey kids. They stopped making fun of me after a while because I would either spread rumors that I was crazy or I would like laugh with them. You know what I mean? I wouldn't let them laugh at me. You know what I mean? So like, it kind of worked out in my favor. But so like whenever I watch these movies, it's always like super exaggerated. Like, oh, the geek, the jock, you're the nerd.
I always feel like, I mean, that's the same thing with me. Like whenever I watch, any sort of school setting movie, excuse me, I can't really relate to any of the cliques because I don't know. I always don't really feel like that there were, the stereotypical cliques at my school.
Mm-hmm.
My high school had so many kids that like all the cliques just intertwine with one another, and like there's just so many people there that like there was no one really said, oh, look at the popular kids. Like no one really ever distinctly said those are the popular kids, those are the geeks, those are the goths, those are the stoners, and all that kind of stuff. So
no, agreed.
So we said that, but it didn't divide us. It was more just so like an identifier. You know what I mean? It was just like
100%.
Yeah, like that's the goth kid in that one band that sucks, and there goes Nick. He is a huge nerd, but also it runs track, whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like it was weird. So like
the worlds crossed over to one another. I had the same thing. I guess if I had to be pinned down to one, it would have been the stoners group, unfortunately.
Hell yeah.
But like the jocks smoked weed and drank beer, and so did I. And I also played sports, and I played music, and then the nerdy kids also smoked weed. So, but this is something I am curious though, and maybe we can describe the main five here in a second. But is there a character in this film that you were like, okay, that you have to pick one. That's me, and I don't mind going first. And I think he's the coolest cat in fucking school. Let's give it for Zeke Tyler, played by Josh Hartnett. I'm a Zeke because I'm like, well, I liked music. I played hippie jam band music, and I loved smoking weed and drinking beers and shit and getting into trouble like that. So I'm a Zeke. Danny, what do you think? We can describe all of them if we want to.
So I would say, out of like the cast, I'm a Stokely.
Stokes.
Yeah.
Stokes Mitchell, played by Clea Duvall. She's the goth, and
she's a goth. Yeah.
Outsider
the
kid.
Loner. Yeah, the loner. I can kind of relate to Stokely's character because when I was a kid, especially like 8th grade, particularly, the kids in my class would make fun of me and like call me weird and stuff because I would read weird books. I've even got called the Antichrist because I was reading The Exorcist.
Oh God.
Big Stokely vibes, and I love that. That's so funny.
And my English teacher defended me because at least I was fucking reading.
Right.
That's such a Stokely answer.
Yeah, just because I was reading The Exorcist and everything. I was just like, okay.
I got called a Satanist. I got called a witch. Whatever, some bullshit, all kinds of stuff. Yeah.
That's why I'm interjecting. Sam, I think you're the usher of the crew.
I am the
usher. Sam, was there a character of the main five? I want to keep it to that. So I'm sorry, Usher, you did not make the cut of the main five.
Yeah, he did not make the cut.
Is it main 5 or main 6? I can't remember.
So
there's
six with Mary Beth.
Main 6.
3, 4,
yeah.
5,
and
6,
let's be honest, nobody wants to be a Mary Beth.
Yeah, no.
No.
She's the goody two shoes at home. But Sam, is there somebody you had identified with?
Probably Casey, because I was still super nerdy. I dressed like a combination of how Casey and Stokely dressed. So
that makes sense.
Yeah, a lot of band T-shirts and jeans, and then chains all over. Whenever I could wear gloves or safety pins on me, I would. Carry around my bass whenever I had practice. But my attitude a lot was like a combination of Casey and Zeke. A lot of my attitude was like, adults are stupid, they don't know shit, and I don't really give a fuck. I just want to get out of here. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
I didn't hate school because of whenever I got picked on or whatever. I didn't hate I didn't hate it because of that. I hated high school because it was boring. I didn't want to I'm not going to use any of this. I'm not going to use trigonometry or geometry. If I do use it now, it's a very small application of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of high school is pointless to me. It was really stupid. So.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
And I love that the movie is called The Faculty because obviously the alien species infects the faculty first and it can spread or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, it's us versus them, and us is high school. We might be in different cliques or whatever, but we all agree that teacher fucking sucks. Or
right? Yeah.
They can't relate to us anymore. And it's funny too. And I talked to you guys about this. I think Danny, especially with you and I, and now Sam, because Sam, we're dragging Sam on board of the Brat Pack. This is a classic theme in the movies we're watching from the 80s, and the Brat Pack is the adults just don't get it anymore.
They don't.
Their time's up.
And the ragtag group of kids find common ground, even though they're from different cliques or whatever the fuck, right? Like,
absolutely,
this definitely suffers from. Actually, I wouldn't even say suffer. I thought they did it pretty well in this movie. It has the Breakfast Club syndrome or trope. And I'm not saying Breakfast Club is the first film to do it, but they're the first ones to do it so good that it became like a trope. You know what I mean? Like, they're the first ones to make it iconic, I think. The ragtag group of kids, all from different groups of people or cliques or whatever the hell, right?
100%.
And it's funny too because, like, you don't think they use that trope anymore. It's like, no, they completely do. Like, one of the latest films I can think of that did do it was Power Rangers. The 2017 Power Rangers movie absolutely did it. You had Zach, the Black Ranger, whose mom was a Chinese immigrant and he dropped out of school. You have Kimberly, who was like the popular girl who's getting like bullied by the other popular girls, and Jason, who's the captain of the football team, but like gets in a lot of trouble, so he's like got benched, and Trini, the Yellow Ranger, who's like her parents are like Hispanic, and like she's also gay in the movie, so like her Hispanic parents just like deny it and whatever and all this other stuff. And then you have Billy, who's like autistic. He's got autism. And
oh shit.
And like, they all came together and became the Power Rangers and kicked ass, and it was awesome, right? They learned to get along and whatever. And it worked in that movie. The Breakfast Club trope works if you execute it well. And I think in The Faculty, they executed it pretty well, even though some of the script was kind of cringy, like where they pointed it out, like where there's a scene where Delilah points it out. She's like, well, yeah, Casey, it's because you're the nerd of the school, and I'm the head cheerleader that dates the captain. That's how it works, blah, blah, blah. And, that was kind of cringy. Like, okay, yeah, you don't need to say it. Like, we get it, But
yeah, she's being too meta in the movie.
Yeah, too meta.
It feels she did that several times, and it was like, ooh, don't say that. Like, we can infer that from the movie. Don't say it though.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so bad, dude.
Yeah, but yes, I do think that trope works when you can do it well. And I think in a lot of these teen MTV era horror movies, they either did it really well or did it terribly. This is one of the ones I think they did it pretty well.
Same. And running down the list too, just for the tropes, we've got Josh Hartnett playing Zeke, who is the stoner, smart kid, but doesn't respect authority. We got Elijah Wood as Casey, who is the nerd / photographer of the newspaper. Loner, doesn't have any friends. Sean Hattasey as Stan, who's the captain of the football team, the most popular kid in the fucking county, it seems like. Everybody loves him, but he doesn't feel like he's getting he doesn't have any self-respect, and he's been handed everything, and he wants to try something different. Jordana Brewster as Delilah, who is the worst character in the movie.
Yeah.
She is the popular girl / head cheerleader /
editor-in-chief of the school newspaper.
Thank you. Then we have Clea Duvall, who plays Stokely, aka Stokes, who is the loner, goth girl who she has a like. We can get into it later, but she spreads a rumor about herself that she's a lesbian, and the reason she does that is so that the rest of the school leaves her alone and thinks she's weird, which is very problematic in its own self. And finally, we have Laura Harris as Mary Beth Louise Hutchinson from Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm from Atlanta, Georgia.
Atlanta, Georgia. She is the new girl in school that is wholesome, sweet, innocent. You get the idea. So this is the 6 main cast. So it's literally the jock, the princess, the geek, the recluse, and the princess, plus Mary Beth, which is just the cast of. Yeah, plus Mary Beth, which is just the cast of The Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Go check that episode out that we did recently on the Brat Pack review.
That thing that Stokes did with the lesbian thing, I can relate to that, except I didn't do that. But I would spread a lot of rumors about myself that would make people leave me alone so they wouldn't pick on me. So I totally get that. I spread a lot of crazy shit. I used to tell people that, like, that I was crazy or that I had, spent time in, being homeschooled because I was fucking wired or whatever the fuck was wrong with me, They get people to leave me alone. They got people to like be scared of me for a little bit, and then I would always just hang out with Drew and JP, and play D&D and drink a lot of Mountain Dew. But then like whenever I got a girlfriend or whatever, I was always hanging out with like their friends, so that's how I kind of made more friends. And like I don't know if it wasn't Drew and JP, I was hanging with my bandmates. And they kind of, like, didn't help the cause. Like, they would, like, because they would watch me do stuff and be like, Tom, you're fucking crazy. But by the time I was, like, with my bandmates a lot, I was already kind of friends with everybody at that point. I kind of just, like, I got tired, of walking with my head down, I think, at some point. And I just started becoming friends with everybody. And that's kind of when I realized that my high school, like, didn't really have cliques. It was, like, we had cliques as, like, whatever, like to it, like I said earlier, like to identify each other, but there were, like I said, like I said, there were stoners on the football team, there were stoners who were skateboarding, there were stoners who I jammed, in bands with, and all kinds of stuff. There's
always stoners.
There's always stoners, yeah.
We're everywhere.
Yeah. If you go to a high school and there aren't stoners, I'm concerned that you're going to probably a weird school or some fake ass bullshit. Like there has to be stoners there. Like even at a Catholic school, there's a stoner there. There is. There just is.
I went to Catholic school and it was me. If you're going to a school that doesn't have stoners, here's the thing, Sam. If you're going to a school without stoners, your school might be taken over by aliens.
Yeah, your school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they all. Oh, can we? I want to talk about one thing that kept coming up in the movie. Okay. So if you get infected, so like here's me. Schlubby King, I'm sad,
Schlubby
everything
King.
sucks, and then I get eaten or brain injected by the parasite alien, right? Next day I come into school, it's the hottest king you've ever seen in your life. Every time somebody gets attacked by the parasite and becomes an alien, they have the glow up of the fucking century.
They do.
Did you guys have a favorite glow up from everybody that got turned? Was there someone that was like, oh, this one sticks out to me?
Famke Janssen, Miss Burke.
Oh my gosh, yeah, Miss Burke.
So it was funny. So James has a like step on me mommy complex. He likes the
it's out there now.
It's out there now.
like really strong, like I don't give a fuck, like literally just like Nico Robin, pretty much. Like that's
I mean, we all love Nico Robin.
That's like a type for James. Like he likes the step on me mommy kind of thing. And when like Miss Burke got turned and she like confronted to Zeke and was all like, I can't remember what she said, but it was like a really funny line when like
she's just bitching him out for selling
literally
drugs on
just
school.
Bitching him out, and Zeke is just like held up his hands and just like moved his fingers like come at me, like keep it coming, like you don't phase me type of thing. Just like roasting Zeke and everything, and like you can just like literally it's just the whole like you have the hots for me and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was yeah. I guess Miss Burke would be the most notable glow up, in all honesty. Aside from Miss Olsen. I mean, Miss Olsen definitely had a glow up.
She was the drama or music teacher, right?
Yes. Yeah, she was the drama teacher. Yeah.
Yeah, because she looks, like a classic old lady at the very beginning, and then when she comes in, like she has the most beautiful hairdo possible with big flowing beautiful red hair, and she just got a great power suit on.
Miss Olsen is played by Piper Laurie.
Exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say, I think for me it was either Miss Olsen, just because I was like, wow, she really looked great. Also, Principal Valerie Drake, played by Bebe Neuwirth.
I feel like she looked the same.
I was gonna say 369. Damn girl's fine.
I mean, even before like she got infected, she looked pretty.
Yes, but and they all looked tired from teaching, and now they all look rested and beautiful. But Sam, did you have? The funny thing is, I just want to comment too. Selma Hayek was hot when she was schlubby, because so just so everyone knows, Selma Hayek is my celebrity pass. My wife has given me permission. If that were I've loved Selma Hayek since whenever the year Desperado came out, when I was like 7 or 8 years old, maybe even 6. I've loved Selma Hayek, and I still love her to this day.
I mean, she's gorgeous.
Yeah. So when they were like, she's schlubby, here she is, I'm like, that is a beautiful woman without the glow up. And they didn't really show her glow up because she's already gorgeous.
Well, she's a nurse, so.
Yeah, exactly. But Sam,
no, actually, no, they did. They did show her glow up, because remember when, like, after the entire faculty got infected, and they did like that surprise like ear test.
Right, the inspection on the students to bring them into the office to turn them into aliens. Yeah,
and Stokely kind of like went over to like the door to look what was going on, and then you saw Selma like in this like traditional nurse's outfit kind of thing, and like
you can't make her ugly.
That was the only time that you kind of saw her character.
She's too beautiful. You can't make her ugly. She's just always gorgeous. But Sam, did you have a favorite glow up of anybody?
Oh yeah, no.
I think she said Miss Burke.
Yeah.
Oh, Miss Burke. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, I have a big crush on Famke Janssen. I mean, I thought she was hot like when she was more nerdy. So I guess I don't know. Maybe Miss Olsen, dude. 'Cause she kind of came in. I was like, oh wait, hold on, bro.
Yeah, she had old lady vibes, and then you're like, oh, this is like a pretty old lady. Like, good for her.
Yeah, good, dude. Good for you.
Good for you. Good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That was the best part. Funny. Like, just like how attractive everybody came after it and everything. And now I'm just looking at, you know who didn't have a glow up though? Was Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart always looks like Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart just looks like Jon Stewart. Yeah, he didn't really. It was just like the wig for some reason. I don't know. Yeah, it was weird.
I absolutely loved Jon Stewart in this movie. I think honestly, Jon Stewart is honestly what I think about when I watch The Faculty.
Yeah.
Is because of him. And like the most iconic scene is when he's infected and like the kids like go into the science class to look at the pod that they found earlier, and it was gone, and Jon Stewart came in and he was all like, what's going on, you know? And they're all like, what happened to the thing? And he's all like, oh yeah, I sent it to the university. And they're all like, well, what did the university why can't I speak right now? Holy shit.
Are we on the drunk cast by mistake?
I don't know. I'm not having any alcohol. I just had a milkshake from Five Guys.
Oh, don't get Sam started on the Five Guys stories. We can't. We'll be here all night.
Yeah, I was telling Five Guys stories. That's funny.
Okay.
I had this bag of bacon one time.
Okay, shush. No. God damn it. Yeah, and then also like clearly like as they're talking about these pods, like you can tell that Stuart he's infected by the parasite, and like he goes by the door and he lowers the screen and everything, and so clearly like you kind of know that like he's about to attack the kids to infect them and everything, and they start fighting. Zeke like grabs the paper slicer and breaks it off and like
What a
hacks
badass.
his fingers. and then I can't remember who did it, but they like stab Jon Stewart in the eye.
Zeke did it because he had
with this. Oh, it was?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. They stabbed Jon Stewart with the scat drug that Zeke had. Like you see him like sell this like ecstasy like drug throughout the movie and everything. So, and all of a sudden like the like it's such a gruesome scene, and you can totally tell that it's fucking fake too.
Yeah.
Because like the FX makeup is awful. Late 90s. It's just like, wow.
Yeah.
And then like it dissolves. Like that's it. Like he's done and everything, and ends up killing him. And you don't see the science teacher after that because he's dead. So yeah, that's like honestly one of my favorite scenes of the movie, aside from the bleacher scene at the end of the movie.
Yeah, it turns out the
So-
drugs that Zeke's making and storing in these pens, the aliens are weak
Yeah.
to because it dries up there. They like need water.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, so a little bit about these aliens, they need to be hydrated.
More than
So
like
throughout
we do.
the-
Yeah.
Right, it's a little bit abnormal, and before like the entire faculty gets infected, the first person to get infected is the coach, and you kind of see the coach just hanging out by the water jug in the faculty room, and he's just constantly drinking water, and everyone is thinking like, what the fuck? Like, is he just like? I guess he's preparing because like there's going to be a big game the day before and stuff. So like the teachers didn't think anything of it and stuff. And then the more it happens, honestly, I think the most I laughed at this part was when Mrs. Olsen came into the faculty room, and it was just the two of them, the coach and the faculty, and Miss Olsen. And they're hanging out by the water jug, and the coach hands water to Mrs. Olsen, and Mrs. Olsen just like chucks the water into her face,
like,
and her hair just flies up a little bit.
It was goofy because it like happened like just real quick. It was like
Yeah, like, oh my god.
It was so fucking funny.
So funny. Like, I can't.
We'll get sprinkled in with like little scenes that remind you that they need water, and it's good that we're just talking about scenes that are fun, but it's not really spoilish to the end or anything. But when you see the coach on the football field just getting drenched by the sprinklers of the football field in the middle of the day, he looks like a psychopath, and Elijah Wood is just staring at him like, what the fuck is this? Because it's just like, why are you standing in the middle of the sprinkler system going off and just getting soaked? So there's just like, it's always bringing you back of reminders of what these aliens are, how they're different from us. They're creepy. They are it's something unnatural about them, how they carry themselves, like what they need biologically. It's that they did a good job at reminding you that they are different from us, and you always know how.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? What else do we want to talk about?
Well, I think the big part of it is like once they figure out, okay, aliens have taken over the teachers and now they're taking over the students. You know, and then they fight Jon Stewart. It's like, oh shit, right? And they figure out that the pen or the drug that Zeke makes is like in it fucks him up. They go back to Zeke's like little hideout garage in his house, and it's like a shed.
Best. I'm excited.
Yeah, and so they do some testing on he's got like a little pet rat, and Elijah Wood's character Casey steals a sample from when Danny posts the gif of her splashing in the water.
The freaking hair just like fluffs up.
Yeah. Because there's pieces of Jon Stewart that they cut off, right? So like, he grabs a sample.
Yeah, because like I believe that like once they stabbed him, like some of the pods like kind of got shot out of him and it was like on the floor, and so Casey like grabbed a sample of it to analyze.
So then Zeke takes that sample and gives a piece of it to his little pet mouse. It's like a little, one of those white mice things, that scientists do tests on all the time. And hydrates the little piece, and then it infects the mouse. So then he's like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. And he kills the mouse. And then they dissect the mouse, and they discover, like, that that little piece was able to infect the mouse, yes. But, like, it has to, like, be complete. It has to regenerate fully enough to like be able to infect other people. So like they discovered like, okay, then there must be like a queen then, and if we kill the queen, then whatever. So then it becomes kids versus the world kind of movie, and that's we got to fight back kind of thing, and that's kind of like the main point of action in the film. And it's like, okay, we have a guy Zeke, who got held back for a year, so he has like a lot of random knowledge about random things, and he clearly knows chemistry because he makes these drugs. And
he's a mad scientist.
You have Casey, who's like a nerd but also intelligent, like book smart, so like he knows like he's good at thinking about how to counter things, and he's a photographer. He knows how to see everything, and he's kind of like a nerdy smart in like that Izuku Midoriya way from My Hero, analyzes everything. And then of course you have Stokes, who's like a science fiction like goth nerd. So like they make a reference to the invasion of the body snatchers, that's how they kind of surmise, like, oh, then there's like a queen or whatever, and whatever.
Yeah, because they asked Stokely, like, well, this is your expertise, like, what are your thoughts? And she's all like, well, in theory, XYZ.
Yeah.
But again, this is all just theory. Like this, it's fiction,
right?
like. And
then you have Stan, who's an athlete, so like he can run quick and whatever. And then you have like Jordana Brewster and Mary Beth, who are just kind of like, whatever, you guys are bitches. But they're kind of all in it together, and they have to like, be together and fight they have to fucking figure out who the fucking queen is. And, it's, I don't know, man, I always kind of like, I always like the idea of juxtaposing opposing forces together to fight a common enemy kind of thing. No matter what the scale is. I don't know. I just like that idea. I like the idea of, even in a campy, corny, like MTV horror movie like this, right? And I use the term MTV loosely because I'm referring to the era of film. But, like I just like the idea because it's just kind of like and no, this I'm not sure if this is a theme of the movie that was intentional or not, but I always like that idea because it should be a reminder to people like that the enemy's not each other, it's this. You know what I mean? It's this bigger thing, or or this bigger entity. And
you have way more in common than you think with other people.
Right. The enemy is not each other. It's we're all going through the same thing. Because that they kind of made that a point in the Breakfast Club too, right? It's like everybody was going through a thing, and John Bender was the one who brought them together, right? And in the Faculty, Stan was the captain of the football team, and he's supposed to be popular and he's supposed to be the captain. And he has a life, right? And it's like no, he was suffering on his own because he kept getting seen as the jock. He kept getting seen not for his intelligence, but for his ability to play football, and he hated that. And he would have rather been invisible. And so he kind of bonds with Stokely, the girl who doesn't have any friends. You know what I mean? They're a complete opposite of like the high school hierarchy, yet they get along, right? And then Zeke kind of gets along with everyone because, he's the guy who's kind of selling drugs to everyone, and he's got this blasé attitude about school, and everybody hates this school, right? Because the school is fucking whack. And so you kind of look up to him as the bigger brother kind of type guy, especially because he's older. And then, they kind of come together and they're like, nah, we got to stop these aliens, bro. And I just like that. I like that corny kind of ragtag BS. But it is kind of like that isn't, I think that's important though. Like there's, there's always something, we're all going through the same thing. There's always something, that thing we're going through is being caused by someone else. You know what I mean? It's like or by something else, and we should be mad at that thing, not each other,
Oh, 100%. And it's not only that, but it's like, I'm sure you guys can relate to, there was like somebody who was in my high school where I thought, man, that person has everything going for them and they live the perfect life. And if I could just be them, or if I could just have their parents or their house, then everything would be fine. And then you talk to that person when you're older, or you actually have a conversation and they're like, no, dude, my home life is shit. I don't like my parents. They treat me horribly. I don't like myself. I have self-doubt, all of these things. And you're like, oh, the dirty secret in life is that everybody kind of feels these universal emotions, and nobody is that perfect person because it doesn't exist.
Right. Exactly. Yep. 100. 100.
Is there anything else that we want to talk about?
In the end, everyone dies.
That's not true. Maybe it is. You have to tune in to find out.
Yeah, you gotta watch it.
No, should we? Do you guys want to give? How do we feel about giving some scores?
Yeah, let's do it. So for me, this movie is like super hilarious. Like to me, I was not scared at all. Like this is supposed to be like an eerie, scary thriller. And for me, even when I was a kid and I watched it, I was not scared when I watched it. So, I thought it's hilarious. Like, I think it's a good comedy because it's just so bonkers and so ridiculous that like all the events that happen and stuff. So, I think it's like, it has developed like a cult following since its release and stuff. And I mean, Rotten Tomatoes has given The Faculty a 55%, both audience score and the tomato meter. So there are a lot of critics that didn't really care for the movie. So, but for me, I enjoyed it. I laughed. I especially enjoyed it when I was watching it with James because he was laughing along with me and stuff, and he also enjoyed it. So, I think everyone should watch this movie, even though it's like super cringy. It's still like an enjoyable movie to watch, regardless on how like corny the movie is. But I'm giving it a 6.5 out of 10.
Yay!
So, yeah.
Sam, what did you think?
I think maybe, and I could be making this up because I'm not on Rotten Tomatoes right now, but like maybe they rated it lower like that because it's not really, in terms of like the premise and the story and the execution of tropes and all that stuff, it's not really anything special. It's we've seen this before. You know what I mean? There's other stories like it. For example, the anime Parasite, the manga Parasite. In terms of like the era of horror it comes from, this is around that time where Scream had come out and stuff too, right? So they were trying to push the boundaries on like the gore factor, right?
Yeah.
Not long after this, maybe about 10 years almost, or maybe not 10, but like 5 years after this, Hostel came out, and that pushed, in terms of like North American horror and Hollywood horror, that pushed boundaries. That was like, oh yeah, holy fuck!
I saw that in theaters.
And
it was disturbing.
Thinking about some of the stuff I watch now and then thinking back to Hostel, it's not that bad, but
yeah.
But even like Saw was coming out in like 2002 and 3, right? And so that was Saw. The first Saw movie was, it didn't have as much. It had probably as much gore as The Faculty did, maybe a little less. But the kind of gore that Saw was, woo, you know what I mean? Whereas in this, it's monsters, right? So monsters and aliens. Alien was coming out around this time too, right? So monsters are gonna monster. Okay, they're gonna bite you. They're gonna scratch you. They're gonna gank you. Okay, so in terms of scariness, it definitely is. I would say it was just enough not to make it scary enough, but enough for me to be like, when some scenes happened, I was like, oh shit, like, you know what I mean? I was like, fuck. That motherfucker got.
You just got ganked.
Yeah. And so I think it was nice. I will say this: there was this used a combination of practical effects and CG. Okay.
Yes.
The practical effects in it though, like there's one scene where you see the gym coach infect somebody else. I won't say who, but like he's infecting somebody else. By opening his mouth and letting, some nasty tentacle shit come out and,
the pod or whatever.
Go into the other person. The way they make his face look with the practical effect, he wore a mask over it and then his eyes like rolled in the back of his head. That was like some Videodrome shit, man. If you've never heard of David Cronenberg, he does some excellent body horror, and there was a movie that he did called Videodrome. With King knows what I'm talking about. He has James Woods. James Woods himself is kind of a dickbag, but as an actor and like a funny entity, I guess James Woods is kind of funny. But like, yeah, James Woods plays the main guy, and it's a body horror movie, and that movie affectionately had more fear and gore, in my opinion, than this did. But like the practical effects in The Faculty reminded me of that, and it was really cool. It was cool to see some of those effects and these parasitic things growing tentacles and infecting people and stuff. It was grody, I'm sure it tried to push some of that, tried to push the line with some of the gore, but like, I will say there were other scary films that came out around this time in Hollywood that were much worse. That being said, I'm talking too much now. I also probably give it 6.5. 6.5 scat pens out of 10.
Sam, before you finish though, will you do this scat pen so that I know you're not an alien? Oh, she's gone. We lost her. She must have been an alien. No!
Oh.
Oh God. Oh God. I love that. Wait till you watch this movie and you get to see what the scat pen is. It's awesome.
It's awesome.
I love it. Well said, Tom.
Dude, Blade came out in 98 as well.
The club scene is the best scene in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
Oh, Halloween H2O also came out in 98.
Nice. Yeah, that's a good one too. That's a fun horror movie.
And the Vince Vaughn Psycho also came out in 98.
We were just talking about that before recording, Danny, and I would say check it out, everybody. Go check out the Vince Vaughn Psycho. It's fun. It's a good romp for Halloween for sure. So go see that one.
And Bride of Chucky also came out in 98.
Yeah, that's another MTV era horror that I personally love. I love the main Chucky series, from Child's Play 1 to the current TV series. I love it. The reboot with Aubrey Plaza, where it was like an AI doll thing, I think is dumb. It was stupid, and his redesign looked dumb. Hated it.
No, it's kind of goofy with that.
Yeah. Anyways, King, what do you score The Faculty?
One thing I wanted to point out, I don't tend to go to Rotten Tomatoes because it is a single source.
Oh yeah, I don't typically either.
I'll pick Metacritic over anything. And if we all want to feel better, Metacritic 61 out of 100. So hey, and it's just I think Metacritic is much more reliable because it scans the web and articles for an amalgamation. So from LA Times
I mean,
to
even Letterboxd, like some of the reviews people have wrote there are like a lot more like this movie is fun kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think it has a better reception today than it did at the time when it came out. I want to remind people, this came out on Christmas Day in 1998.
That is such a weird day.
It's a bad idea too, and it's just like my family has been to the movies at Christmas, but we want to see something feel good. You want to see something uplifting or like for religious people, spiritual, whatever. So like a horror or a sci-fi film or whatever, you're just not going to do well on Christmas Day. This is if this had come out in summer, I really think this would have made a lot more money than 63.2 million.
Oh yeah.
Which is still okay, but it's not like gangbusters. To them, it was not a great success. And I'm just like, oh, Robert, no, like this is horrible. There's no Christmas themes in it. There's no winter themes in it. It's just not there. Now, saying that, I will take us out and say, I love this film. I really enjoyed it as a kid. I got the pleasure to watch it with my wife, who just thought it was so goofy, and it was a very silly, fun watch. I'm going to bump it. I'm giving it a 7.5 out of 10. I thought it was really entertaining. I thought it was and Danny, you can attest to it. This was, it had some weird stuff and some questionable comments here and there, but it's still like more... It's still easier to consume than some of the bad tropes we've seen in some of our Brat Pack films.
Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely.
For sure.
Like, okay, so here's my theory. I mean, I'm pretty sure there are some like really like out of date 90s flicks.
Oh yeah.
But for me, I feel like the 90s is like the golden age of movies. It like a
So many good
lot of
films.
really great movies came out in the 90s, and they are still enjoyable to watch to this day.
Agreed.
That's my theory. Like, that's how I feel about the 90s era of movies, is that they're like left and right, like so many great directors and so many great writers came out and just kept killing it with all these great movies and stuff. So
No, I 100% agree.
yeah.
And I just love this. We already said it. To me, well, in 1998, this would be the modern day Breakfast Club. It is it really is for me. It's almost like a perfect horror sci-fi twist on it, but it's just the gang getting together with the different groups that Sam talked about earlier on, coming together. They have the common enemy. It's adults. It always is. As a young person, they don't get us. They were once you, but they forgot what it's like to be you, or they don't empathize with what's going on in your head. So they're your common enemy. And you know what? I'm going to say it right now. Fuck the teachers. School sucks. Rock and roll forever, everybody. Scat. Let's all do scat together after this show. Woo!
So funny. All right. Well, this has been fun. I love doing these Cinnamontography reviews with the two of you. It's unofficial, but it's also official. So
the unofficial official Cinnamontography group.
Yes. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, King, for doing this with me again. And stay tuned for the next Brat Pack segment that we're going to be doing. Maybe Sam will be on that. Maybe she won't. Who knows?
I have to poop
Maybe
that
she
day.
has to take a poop. Yeah, I just literally just said that. Maybe she has to take a poop. I don't know.
I'm going to the bathroom that day. I won't be available.
Excuses. Always with the excuses. You don't want to come to manga club because you have to poop. Like,
Well, when's Manga Club?
On
it's always on
Sundays?
Sundays.
Oh, is it?
Oh, she poops that day.
I do go to the bathroom that a lot that day, yeah. See, what I do is I hold it all week and then just let it all out on Sunday.
That's not good.
Some
That
people
is
call it
not
the
sanitary.
Some people call it the Lord's Day. Some call it the Toilet Day, and that's okay too. We
The
respect
Throne
all
Day.
faiths
The
here.
porcelain throne.
Oh, there we
Throne
go.
Day.
The Throne Day. No, Sam will be at the next one because it's weird science.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, so thanks so much. I hope you guys enjoyed this little extra spooky season Cinnamontography episode. And we will catch you next time. All right. And make sure you do drugs so that you know that your friends aren't aliens.
God damn it. Just tell all of our listeners just do drugs.
Do drugs.
Do drugs.
I'm kidding. Don't actually do drugs.
But if you're worried that your friends might be an alien, maybe make them do some drugs. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe make them do some like homemade caffeinated scat drug.
Give me that scat, baby.
Oh my god.